All right, it's Monday, TGIM. Thank goodness it's Monday. Today we're going to start a series that I've been kind of planning out over the last month on an option income strategy that's, I don't think it's that well known. It seems to be getting more popular as time goes on. I see more people talking about it. And this is the basic structure of it right here. And it's like what I would call like a mix between a butterfly or a broken wing butterfly and an iron condor or a broken wing iron condor. And this is just a mock-up I put up real quick on this risk graph software to just kind of give you the basic idea of it. This is on the SPX, and again, this isn't a trade that I have on. I just kind of threw this on real quick just to show you the risk graph, the diagram, and the basic idea behind the trade. So the basic idea behind the trade is to create a structure where you're selling naked puts. So these are naked puts down here. Let me see if I can zoom out. So these are naked puts. You can see it has a risk all the way down to like infinity there, which is kind of not great, but they're far out of the money. And the position, currently the SPX is trading right here. So you can see we have a long ways to go before we get down there. But still, even then, you can see how this pink line is the 0-day line. So this pink 0-day line has that sharp curve to it. And let me see if I can where's the 10% down mark? I have these set to, these brown vertical lines set to 10%, and I can't believe we haven't seen 10% down yet. What the heck? Oh, they're way up there. What in the world? Okay, so let's put this down at 10% down. Now, I'm not saying that there's going to be a 10% down move, but it's not unfathomable. Certainly it could happen, and that's the problem that I see with the basic way people are teaching this strategy. I think it's a cool strategy and a cool idea, and I think that what they're trying to accomplish is along the right track. But I've after looking around, it's a couple of different services who are teaching this and trading it. There's one I've kind of honed in on here who I think is the most. They have a great community, great teachers, and they run a great service, and they teach this strategy, actual different variations of the strategy. And so over the last month, I've sort of been doing some research and building this up. This is a trade that I actually learned like years ago from a market maker. I saw a market maker talking about it, and he had a weird name for it. I can't quite remember what that was called. It was like it was like some sort of like a weapon. I forget. Dang it, I'm getting old. I'm forgetting everything. So that was the first time I heard of the strategy. And then I kind of ran into this group who I am learning the basics of the strategy now. And I've seen a lot of their content. They have great content, great teachers, a great community. And so this month of December, I've decided I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to dive into this strategy for the month. I'm going to start to put on some live trades, and I'm just going to document everything here on YouTube. And I'm going to basically follow their methodology for this strategy, although there's already some tweaks that I know I want to do. So the bulk of the videos will be their strategy just as it is, the nuts and bolts of their trade. And then as we progress into the month, I'm going to start to do a couple of other variations of some ideas that I have that I've just used from other similar type of structures, like with broken wing butterflies and iron condors and broken wing iron condors, that I think would be really interesting to kind of throw into the mix. So if you're interested in learning this trade, just reach out to me, just email me or leave a comment below, and I'll get back to you with how you can learn this trade from this group that I'm involved with and their trading community. It's a really great trading community. I'm really impressed with it. And the instructors on it are great. They're just regular guys, but they have a lot of knowledge, and that's what I'd love to point you towards. So anyway, let's get back to the trade. So the idea behind this trade is to create a position where there's only risk on one side, on the downside over here. We already looked at that. These are the naked puts. They go all the way down, massive loss if there was a huge crash. But if you're doing this on an underlying like the SPX, which this is on, the thought that the SPX may go to zero is not really probable. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think that it is realistic that there could be a major crash at some point, and 10% down, I'm sure it could happen, even 20% down. So that's the part of the trade that I don't like. But the structure of this trade is, so there's only risk on one side, the downside. And then up here, you position it in such a way so that there's a credit that you bring in. So no matter what happens to the upside, if it flies up to the moon, you're still going to make money. So in this scenario here, which I have graphed out, in this scenario, if the underlying SPX stays right where it's at here for like the next 3 or 4 weeks and moves all the way up, no matter what, we'll still make the total possible profit, which is $530. If it comes down to this area here, right where this box starts to form, you're guaranteed to make the same amount, $535. Now, if it lands in this tent area as we get closer to expiration or at expiration, you can see that we have the total potential, the possibility to make up to $1,035 in this area right here, this boxy area. And then if it falls down here below If this is showing like below 44.19, that's where you'll start to see losses and eventually significant losses if you were to hold this all the way to expiration. So I like the idea of a trade that you can just set and forget and not worry about it, and it brings in a credit, and no matter what happens, if it stays within like a standard deviation range or just goes all the way up, guaranteed to make money, and you get sort of a profit. And so if we were in here, if it were to come down here and land in this area, I like the idea of we get even more credit. But the only thing that really scares me about this trade is the pink line. You can see how the drop off really just really comes down really quick. So the first thing I think of when I think of this is how can I fix that? How can I get the same idea, the same structure, but either reduce or hedge or eliminate this pink drop off? So it's more of a gradual slope down, or even comes to a flat 0-day line at some point. And I've traded a lot of other similar type structures where we do that with. And so I'm looking forward to experimenting and trying some things with this trade that are similar. So the way this is constructed is these right here at this corner are naked puts, and then right here is a put debit spread. And I've heard some folks claim that this put debit spread is the hedge for the trade. But I mean, if you just look at it, you can see that that's not much of a hedge. I call that a speed bump, if anything, or maybe even like a launch. Like if you're like Evel Knievel and you're racing, that could be launch you off into the abyss. So that's not, that debit spread won't really do much at all on a quick, sharp move down, especially with this trade being negative vega. And negative vega basically just means that if volatility were to rise, you would either, you can see it right here in the Greeks, minus 169, you would lose 169 for every point it goes down. So like a down move is going to increase volatility, and that's going to hurt this position. So that being a hedge for a sharp down move is let's throw that out the window. That's not, I mean, some people may consider it a hedge, but it's not, I don't consider that a hedge. That's not like a realistic hedge, or at least the type of hedge I'm talking about. I'm talking about more of like a black swan hedge, like if something happens overnight, some nuclear bomb goes off or something while the market's closed, and we wake up way down and just relentless, quick, sharp move down, that's going to do nothing for you. And you could be in a lot of pain here. Now, there's various ways this trade can be constructed. This is the naked put version of it. And another way is to cut off the risk to the downside by just buying a put lower. And that looks sort of like this. So this is the same idea. There's a put debit spread right here. And then these were where the naked puts were. But now this is basically a credit spread, a big wide credit spread. And this is sort of like a broken wing butterfly or broken wing iron condor. And again, with the idea of this trade being that we put it on for a credit, and then no matter what happens to the upside, you're going to make a certain amount of money. So in this example, we'll make $40 if it stays right where it's at. If it goes all the way up, we make $40. If it comes down to this point here, we make $40. And then if we can get it to land in this little boxy area here at expiration, we can make up to $540. And on this one, because we have this lower put that we purchased, it sort of caps off the loss to the downside. So it's not like a catastrophic loss, but it's still, so you can kind of see how it kind of slows down this pink curve on the risk graph. It's not as sharp as it was with the naked puts, but I think that it's still, at least personally for me, this is better, but this isn't even ideal for me. And again, I've traded similar structures to this where there is a way to really flatten this out and reduce that risk to the downside, and even create structures where it's possible to make a significant amount of money, make way more than you were expecting to make in either of these areas on a sharp crash move down. And so that's what I am planning to look at as I start to trade these. So I'm just going to start to trade these exactly as the service is recommending them, just to kind of get our feet wet. And I'm going to be using real money with these. And I'm also thinking of trying this in a couple of different accounts so we can see how this acts and performs in like a larger account, like a portfolio margin account, and also in a very small account, like say $4,000 or $5,000 account. And then lastly, another cool idea I have with this is something I do in these similar structures that I've done in the past that aren't this, but are somewhat similar. And that's a way to, a couple tricks where we can milk more credit out of this as the trade moves along and progresses. So this is just kind of the first video, just kind of set up the stage here. Again, this is something that I've been looking forward to do and planning to do for about a couple months here. And it's a strategy I've always had in the back of my mind ever since, years ago when I saw that market maker dude talk about it. So I think this will be really interesting and a lot of fun, a good project for this month. I'll be putting on real live money trades with this, different variations. I'm just going to start off by following the signals and the trades that the service gives. And if you'd like to know what that service is, you can just contact me, just email me. And the best way to email me is just go to my website. I'll leave a link to my website in the description below. Just go over there and sign up for my free email newsletter. After you sign up, you'll get a welcome email from me. Just reply back to that welcome email and say that you'd like to learn more about the oh, that's a good point. What are we going to call this thing? I always like to try to come up with like different names for these strategies. And I was thinking, you guys ever see that movie Mad Max Fury Road? I think that's the name of it. It's the one that just came out like a couple years ago, the latest one. Somebody told me to check it out. And I never seen the other ones. And I'm not really into those type of movies. So I just kind of poo-pooed it off. But he kept insisting that I take a look at it. So we watched it one night. And that was an awesome movie. It's amazing. It's like a movie that there's dialogue in it, but there doesn't even need to be dialogue in it. All the storytelling is told through like visually, and the visuals are stunning. I mean, it's basically a chase through the desert, apocalyptic desert for 2 hours. And if somebody were to like describe that to me, I would say that sounds like the most boring movie ever. Come on, 2 hours, a chase for 2 hours, but it's actually not. It's really good. So if you get a chance, check it out. But anyway, the reason I bring that up is because there was a car in one of those. I think it was in that movie. One of the cars in that movie, they had all these crazy, like tricked out cars, and they were like from like old time cars and like cars that they turned into tanks, all these strange vehicles that they had created from like used parts and stuff. And one of them it was sort of like this. It was like it had kind of a long back end and a really long like hood-like area. I'll try to find a picture on the internet similar and then like just kind of like paste it in on here so you can see what I'm talking about. But I'm thinking of naming it the name of that car, so I'm gonna have to do a little bit of research. But this would be the body of the car right here. This is the front windshield. This is the hood, and this is the tail, or this is the end of it. And I think there's a name for it. I'm going to have to look that up. But whatever the name of that car is, that's what I'll name this thing, at least to begin with. And we'll be starting this video project off with, I'll just be following their signals exactly as they put them on. Try some different variations, try some different sizes. Then as we get into a couple weeks, like say week 2, 3, or 4, I may start to add in some of my own variations, some of my own ideas for raising this pink line up, or eliminating a lot of the risk, or kind of dampening the risk, or even creating a hedge where, like, if it were to tank, like a black swan type of hedge, where if it were to tank, we can make a lot more than we could actually make even in the structure. And also another way how to milk these structures out over time and bring in more credit and bring in more profit overall. So I'm excited about this. If you'd like to follow along with me on this trade, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button. And you can also join me on my website. Just go to my website. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. Go over there, sign up for the free email newsletter. As soon as you sign up, you'll get a welcome email from me. Then just reply back to that welcome email and say, I'd like to learn the Fury Road trade. Let's just call it the Fury Road trade for right now until I figure out what the name of that specific car was. So this will be the Fury Road trade. So if you'd like to follow me on these trades or learn how to trade it, if you'd like to be hooked up with the group I'm involved in who are doing these, just reach out to me, send me an email, let me know you'd like to learn the Fury Road trade, and we'll go from there. All right, that's it for today. Talk to you tomorrow.